means when you're out of program mode, if somebody plays with these, it doesn't save that as a preset scene. It just, they can change the levels temporarily, but if you go back and push scene 1, it goes back to 100%. There's other options. There's save always, which if somebody plays with it, it will automatically save it. There is save by OK, where they can change it and then hit OK, and it changes the scene. Button disable, which means you can't play with it at all. It just scene 4, 3, 2, 1, and off, unless you go back into program mode. 4 scenes, which gets rid of your off, and then save never. Most customers like save never because then you can temporarily change the scene if you wanted to, but it doesn't save it. So those are your save options. Zone setup. I don't expect you guys to do a lot with zone setup. You have high-end and low-end trim, though, that you can change. A lot of people tend to set their high-end trim for less than 100%. It saves energy, and people can't really tell the difference between 100% and 75%. For our sequence of ops, I have 1, 2, and 3 already set to 80% high-end trim, which are your 2x2s. But your teaching wall, your over cabinets are a switching load. They don't dim at all, so I can't change the high-end trim for that. Sensor setup, like I was saying, you have an occupancy sensor and a daylight sensor. So you can go in and look at setup for daylight, and it will find the sensor and it'll tell you which zone. So if you wanted all of your lights to daylight, you could change it in here.
Oh, you can't do that?
Yeah, you can. You can make it. Right now, it's only set to daylight those front.
Those 3, right?
Mm-hmm, but you can change it so that all the lighting daylight.
How about the sensitivity for that sensor?
It's left at default right now. If you want it more sensitive, see, there's your daylight sensor, and it's set to zone 3, which is the window 2x2s, but you could change it to. If you want it to be more sensitive, you would go into calibrate. And you would have to pick each zone that you have it set to. Mm-hmm. And then it even tells you up is more light if you want them to be more, down is less light.
You guys need a copy of the folio?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, and for occupancy, like I was saying, I set up scene 5 for your occupancy so that the main lights turn on, but the rest of the lights do not. You would go to actions. Occupied is scene 5, but you could change it to scene 4 or 25. And then unoccupied is scene off, which is 15 minutes of inactivity. It'll turn off. Okay, and down at the bottom is Diagnostics. If you're having issues, you can come into program mode and click on Diagnostics, and it will tell you link info, how many things are on the QS link. Right now, it sees itself, an NWK, the wall stations, the two wall stations. You can also look at your the firmware that you have right now. You have 8.27, which is the most up-to-date firmware. And you can set up a password also that you would have to put in to go into program mode. So that's it for the graphic eye. And then again, to go out, you just push and hold the top and bottom buttons. Now, if you want to change your two keypads, you would put them in program mode, which is the same thing, push and hold the top and bottom buttons. Okay, and it's doing the waterfall also, so it's in program mode. And if you look at your graphic eye, it's going to say keypad, change type, press OK. So you hit OK, And right now I have it on scene. We'll go back to that. I have it on scene. You can change it to a zone so that it only controls one zone. Right now, I'm just going to leave it on scene. First scene is 6, so it turns on the main lighting. And then the bottom one is off. It'll turn off all lighting. And then it tells you saved. And you just go back and you take it out of program. Okay. For your different zones, you wanted to see the labels. So the first one, which is these 3 lights, is whiteboard 2 by 2 whiteboard. See at the top how it says 2 by 2?
Gotcha.
And then 2 by 2 main, which are your 6 main ones. 3 is 2 by 2 window. 4 is your whiteboard teaching wall lights. 5 is the over cabinets, and 6 is your door light.
Cool.
And it's standard across the board. So, do you have any questions about graphic eyes?
Is there a simulation of this graphic eye model on the internet?
There's a programming guide.
The programming guide?
Right, I believe it's.
See, all the buttons you were pressing and all the titles that come up, is that on the internet somewhere where you can?
Oh, I took it back up. I pulled all of the information that I programmed on this graphic eye,
Okay,
and we will keep a copy of that. If you do any changes after I leave, we won't have a copy of that, but if something happens and it gets messed up, we have a copy and we can come back and just reload it.
okay.
Oh, yeah? Well,
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
And on the internet, is there a model like this that you can simulate with?
No, there's not. There is a programming guide, which I think is in your handout. And I can email, oh, right here, Lutron graphic guide for us. And it tells you, it shows a picture of it. It's not it. It's just the photo. They also have an occupancy sensor, so they will turn the lights off after 15 minutes, and if somebody doesn't press the button, they'll turn the lights on also. And there's a wall station next to it.
Okay.
Now your corridor lighting doesn't have any wall controls. It's all based on occupancy. You have
Hey, Jim.
We have several of these down the corridor, and they're broken off. This is the north corridor, you have the south corridor, the west corridor, the connection between the two, and then you have the lobby. And they just work on occupancy. Turn the lights on when you sense it, and turn it off. These middle classrooms,
Oh, I should have. I had a previous engagement.
Hey, I'm gonna leave you guys to it. 'cause I have
Alrighty.
another meeting.
there are keypads next to the entrance, and they are both next to the whiteboard. So this one, we labeled them. This one controls your main lights. And that one next to you, sir, controls the teaching walls. And you have two teaching walls, so it'll turn on these fluorescent lights. And again, there's occupancy sensors. If we'll head to the electrical room now, and I'll show you the time clock. So these are ESMs. They control their time clocks so that we can do time events like at 6 a.m. sweep all the lights on, at 11 p.m. sweep all the lights off. Your exterior lighting is off of the photo cell right now, so when it senses a certain foot candle, the lights go off.
There's one photo cell for.
Right, it's on the roof. And for all of your exterior lighting. You have one of these in each of the electrical rooms on all 3 floors. It's pretty simple. At the end, I'm going to put a magnet on here with your job number, your job name, and phone number you can call if you ever have any problems. And if you just give them the job number and the job name, they can pull up all the information about this. Okay. The second floor is very similar to this floor. The one that's different is the 3rd floor. So if you go look to the 3rd floor, top, bottom, go. And then time clock after that.
I just was wondering.
Yeah, it
opens, I didn't realize the screen was fired up. Sorry. And is there a bypass if we wanted to bypass the photo cell in the time clock? Or how do we,
There is no bypass for the photo cell.
unless we physically,
Right. Yeah. There is a way you can turn them on. It's kind of a pain. You have to one Charlie, one Delta, and one Golf control all of your exterior lighting. They're all 3 of these. And so if you were to take this cover off, there are buttons on the bottom. Protects you from any voltage. All of your high voltages up here, down here is just low voltage, 24 volts DC. But zone 1, you can see there's none of these LEDs are lit right now because it's right outside. Okay. Right. Okay. So these occupancy sensors work together. So if someone's walking in from this way, it'll trigger all of the lights to come on. Or if there's occupancy sensors at that end and in the middle, and if somebody walks in from that door, it triggers all of these lights to come on. And it's the same on every kit.
15 minutes?
15 minutes. And then not for these actually.
Okay.
These are wired occupancy sensors. That's what these are. They're smart, so they adjust based on how frequently it's occupied. But there's a way to manually set it for 15 minutes. Are there any questions?
Gil, you got any questions?
I've been asking.
So you mentioned during off hours, occupancy sensors will trigger the lights to come on.
No, there's no, I haven't gotten any time clocks yet from the college, but if you do a sweep off of the lights, if you do after hours, you can't have occupancy. So I wouldn't suggest after hours at all because then you have a bunch of occupancy.
We just submitted an RFI for times
Okay.
yesterday, so we should then that'll be programmed into
And then
the
when
system.
when the light-
Cleaning crews, they want to come in, they want to be able just to either just walk in and have certain areas light up, or to be able to
The thing with
hit a
time clocks
switch and.
is
have it
these
go.
are they're like an egg timer. So if we sweep the lights off at 10 and someone comes in at 10:05, they won't turn on. If they come in at 10:15, the lights will turn on. But for 15 minutes,
Okay,
they won't work.
all right, they would just need to be aware of that.
Right.
And I saw some emails, there's been going back and forth, and of course I just copied Riddell. I'm like, they're really the cleaning crews are the ones that really need to know, or
Right.
we need to know what their schedule is to do it
Yes,
correctly.
Yeah,
Because other than that, they're gonna look for an override switch, and they're not gonna find one.
yeah.
It'll work out.
So whoever wants to get a copy of the sign off, if I could just get your name and email in my. Yep.